Summer months are winding down. NC State is back in classes. So that means starting back up the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Of course, brought to you by Wolfpack RTC, Wolfpack Wrestling Club. Pat Pavlizio still on summer vacation, so we dug into the Rolodex. And since we're sponsored by the RTC, we're bringing an RTC athlete on, Trent Hidlay. Trent, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Brian. It's been we've been talking. I haven't been on this podcast in a while, and I've been excited to get back on here and talk some NC State wrestling, some Wolfpack RTC, and maybe if Pat gets back from vacation, we'll get him involved at some point.
Going to have to catch Pat up, let him know that we started the podcast back. He'll be happy. But yeah, you haven't been on for a while. I haven't talked to you for a while. Hayden, when he was hosting, he never had you on. So, I mean, the Wolfpack fans, they got to hear your voice here.
Yeah, I think it was a really it was a fun season. I got to enjoy it a lot with some of the fans and stuff. So I think as I'm here, continuing to evolve that relationship with fans and be able to watch dual meets not in a singlet for the first time will be pretty fun.
Lot to cover here, like you said. RTC, Wolfpack Wrestling, an exciting announcement at the end of the podcast. Little bit of teaser. People have to pay attention, but I think. Probably since 2010, 2012, you're not a college athlete. I mean, it seems like you've been in school for about 18 years here. So I know it's rolling, but what has life been like here recently with school back and you're just not in classes now?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been different. Like you said, they finally kicked me out of college. It's kind of funny. I've been walking around WB the past couple of weeks, and some of the other sports coaches or people are like, "Hey, do you have another year? Are you still in?" I always say, "No, they finally kicked me out." So it was a long 6-year career, but I loved every second of it. But life's a little bit different now. I've had a really fun summer. Got to take a little bit of time off after after the trials. I wrestled in a pro event in Pennsylvania. The Championship Wrestling Association is starting to put on kind of like a pro wrestling league. They're starting. I did a match there, and then I went overseas and wrestled in Hungary in the Budapest Ranking Series tournament. Got to wrestle some really elite level guys. So that was great. And after that, I was able to take some time off, just enjoy the summer a little bit. Usually in college, I'd be on campus and either taking a summer class or just training full time to get ready for any freestyle stuff in the late summer and just getting ready for the season and preseason. So I didn't really have that this year, which was pretty nice. It still kind of feels like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like forgetting to turn assignments in or something. So I still, for some reason, have some stress about like school, but knowing that I don't have classes has been really cool. Like I said, I got to enjoy the summer. My girlfriend, who I've been dating since my senior year of high school, long distance, just moved down to Raleigh with me. So we're finally moved in together. So that's going to be a fun change moving forward for me. And I'm just training full time. Accepted a position with the Wolfpack RTC in June, and it's been awesome. I've been able to work with a lot of guys on the team and work with head RTC coach Jamil Kelly, Zach Esposito, Tommy Gant, all the coaches at NC State and the guys. It's been really, really beneficial so far. So right now I'm training for the senior non-Olympic weight world team trials in September here in about 2.5 weeks. So we're just gearing up for that.
What degrees did you come away with from NC State?
Yeah, so I finished my undergrad was in business administration with a concentration in finance. And then with my 2 years I had left, it worked out pretty well. I was able to get into the MBA program here at NC State. So I got my master's in business administration, graduated last spring. Those are my 2 degrees.
Okay. One of the most heated rivalries. It's over. Who won? You, Jared Trombley. Who got the higher GPA?
It's actually kind of funny. So, for the listeners listening, I'm sure you're familiar. Me and Trombley had a little bit of a GPA rivalry our whole career. We both had a 4.0 every semester. And leading up in our senior year, it was the same thing. We always were the guys that would get the 4.0s. I always gave the edge to him because he was in I think he was like bio, chem, something kind of hard. And, business isn't the easiest, but it's certainly not the hardest. So I always gave the edge to him. And then I actually, in my second to last semester, in the last week of like the class, I forgot to turn in a participation assignment for my one class. And I ended up, my GPA was like a 3.949 or something. So I slipped up a little bit. But that's me sounding really pretentious. But no, me and Tom, had a great rivalry. He was someone that always showed up and put the work in, and he's gonna be doing great things moving forward.
Absolutely. And I know fans are going to think about it. What about from the family perspective? Hidlay's been in the Pack lineup since I think Hayden got here in 2016. I know he redshirted, but you two have been constants. Fans are going to have to get used to no Hidlays. What it's going to be like for the Hidlay family not to be wrestling at NC State anymore.
But yeah, it's going to be different. It'll save my parents having to drive down to Raleigh 20 times a year, which I think they're definitely going to miss that, I think, intensity of it, but they're going to be pretty busy with my sister's field hockey season this year. She's going into her senior year at Susquehanna University in Pennsylvania. So they'll keep busy. But as far as, not having a Hidlay in the lineup, it's like you said, it's been since, 2017 or so. But I think it's fun. It's a time in NC State wrestling that's, there's a new change coming in, a new associate head coach is in, little bit different vibe of the program. And, now it's time for some of the younger guys to kind of take the torch of the program and run with it. So I'm excited to see this next, transition into NC State wrestling without, me and Hayden are involved in the lineup. Of course, I'm going to be behind the scenes and working a lot with these guys. So it's not like I won't be around. But in terms of, stepping out in the Reynolds with an NC State singlet on, I don't get that opportunity anymore. And I certainly, will miss that a lot. I love my time at NC State, and Reynolds specifically these last couple of years has just been, it's been a dream come true to be able to compete in a place like that with fans like this at NC State. So I'm definitely going to miss it. I hope fans will kind of miss it a little bit, but they're going to be, they have a lot of really good people here at NC State, a lot of really talented wrestlers with great personalities that are going to make NC State wrestling, go to a different level, go to a higher level than what we've been able to do the past couple of years. So I'm really excited about that.
Mark and Nikki, they don't have any more males at home that will be college eligibility coming down here. They're all done too.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Unless they, adopt somebody and send them down here for me to train, which I don't know. That could be interesting, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
You mentioned changing the guard. It is. I mean, you and Hayden, obviously two very vocal leaders over your time here. You especially very vocal. Who do you think is going to be stepping up in that role as a vocal leader on this year's team?
Yeah, and that's something that especially with my last year here, I was my sixth year. This past year, I kind of saw how Hayden took an approach to his sixth year, very hands-on, kind of a coach-like, and that's kind of what I tried to be for these guys, as a mentor, but also challenge a lot of the core guys to take that leadership role. And I think you're starting to see that at the beginning of this season, going into preseason, guys like Ryan Jack and Jackson Arrington, Kai Arini, Ed Scott, Isaac Trumbull, kind of the guys that have had success in our program the past couple of years are now really stepping into that leadership role. And I think that's a really cool thing to see, is seeing those guys, like I said, take the torch with this program and take it to new heights, because they're all very talented. And now it's, challenging them to be leaders as well. And I think, the message to them was, when you're a leader in this program, it doesn't just help the other guys, but it's going to help you as well. And I think that's something that they're all, very passionate about, is reaching their goals, and being a leader of this program will help you reach your goals. So that was kind of the message to them, and they've done a great job with it. Just bringing the younger guys along and really, really connecting as a team. I'm able to kind of see that from an outside perspective here. So I think they'll do a great job leading into this season.
Preseason's upcoming. Are you going to be one of those former wrestlers that sits there with their coffee mug, or are you jumping in with your cotton t-shirt and running the stairs at Carter Finley?
I told the coaches I wasn't gonna get in there, but I have a feeling I'll miss a couple of workouts and I'll be like, no, I got to be in there training with the guys. Okay. But I don't know. I try. I won't. I definitely won't sit at the track and laugh at the guys doing it. 'Cause I remember how it feels to be doing that, and
Yeah.
if I'm going to be there, I'm going to be doing it with them. So
Okay.
we'll see. These next couple of weeks my training will be a little bit different leading up to the trials, but yeah, I have a feeling I'll get that itch to wake up at 4:45,
Yeah.
lift and hit the stadiums and the track like good old times.
Absolutely. And going back to your last year here, 6 year, you went up 197. Now looking back, you've had months to reflect. Good decision. Did it benefit you? Did it help your last year here?
Yeah, I think it was a great move for me. Just in terms of my enjoyment of the season, I really didn't have to cut any weight. I was weighing about 200 as it was. I really was able to train the right way. I think as smart as I could. I'm someone that loves to go and loves to train and loves the intensity of it. So for me to be able to learn to kind of pull that back a little bit and just focus on skill improvement, working on positions that I needed to get better at. I was really able to focus in on that a little bit more this past year. And I think, you saw it with my results besides one match, the final match, the NCAA final match. I was one of the most dominant guys in the country. I wrestled extremely well. My conditioning was top notch. I was scoring in different ways that I had never been able to do before. And I was just having a blast. I mean, the season went so quick because I was loving every second of it. I wanted to wrestle as many matches as I could, and I feel like I did. Wasn't the ending that I was hoping for. Obviously lost, in the finals again. But, you start to look at the results that I had, the way that I competed. I certainly don't have any regrets from it. I think I got a lot better in this past year. And that's really what the goal is self-improvement and growing in all areas. And I think by going to 197, I gave myself the best opportunity to become a better wrestler. And I feel like I did that. And, I can hang my hat on knowing that I gave it all I had. And I certainly don't have any regrets about it. Like I said, I would have loved to finish it out the right way, but just wasn't in the cards in that match. And, I certainly learned a lot from it and keep moving forward and to, achieve my post-collegiate goals.
What do you think your legacy is or was being an NC State wrestler?
I don't know. I think legacy's hard because whatever I think doesn't really matter, right? It's what the people think about you. And I hope, something I feel like I matured a lot in my 6 years. And, I remember, one thing I always think about my freshman year when I came in, I had a meeting. I started meeting with our sports psychologist here. And I remember saying something along the lines of, I don't know how I'll be able to live if I don't achieve my goal of being a national title and of winning that. And looking back on it now, it seems so foolish to think like that because, here I am living and breathing and enjoying life, even though I didn't achieve my goals. And I think, as far as maturing like that is realizing that it's not necessarily about the results that I want people to remember, but I hope what my legacy will be is that I gave it all I had all the time, that I trained extremely hard, that I was the toughest guy in the room, that I always showed up for the team and I'd do anything for the guys on the team. And I think that, whenever I talk to old teammates and they compliment me on how hard I wrestle, like that's what makes me feel really good. Not necessarily the wins or the losses, but how I went about it, how I trained, and how I gave my all, not just for the program, but for myself and the people around me. I hope that's what I'm remembered by, and I think that's what's probably most important.
I think one subject we really haven't talked to on here before with Pat, NIL. You kind of came here, it wasn't a thing. You were here, it started to be a thing. You don't hear about it in college wrestling too much, except for one school out in the Midwest. Otherwise, but how did NIL affect you, or was there any advantages, or was it too early for you to take advantage of it?
No, I think there were certainly some advantages. It was kind of crazy when it all happened. It's still kind of crazy, trying to figure out, I think, what the best way to implement it is across the board. Obviously, I think there's some things that need to be tightened up a little bit to make things, I I don't know, like realistic and sustainable. But, when it first happened, I think the biggest thing I noticed, it was like, it took away a lot of stress on my end to not have to worry about just little things like, somebody paying for my meal or selling a t-shirt with my picture on it. Cause those were all things that you couldn't do before. And it was just like, it was more annoying than anything. It's like, yeah, I know I'm not going to make a ton of money from this, but it at least allows me to be creative, I think, and build my personal brand along with, my career at NC State. So I think that was really cool. Just kind of having a little more freedom to do things that I wanted in terms of, maybe it was a wrestling camp and promoting it with my name, or, Hayden and I started that amateur wrestling event called Wrangle in the Wild. Like, we wouldn't have been able to do that before the NIL rules because of, the rules about using your name and everything. So that was really cool. But then I think my favorite part about the NIL is connecting with, the local community and organizations around Raleigh and NC State. I mean, I did Van Alston, who is one of the owners of Mojo's and Mitch's, really, he set the standard for like taking care of guys in a sport like wrestling, which, a lot of the attention probably goes to football, baseball, basketball, the revenue generating sports. But, to have a deal with a local restaurant and to go in there and kind of feel like a celebrity was really cool for me. And I think that's what it's all about, is some, like, me benefiting from a deal like that, and me also using my platform to promote those businesses, those restaurants, and other, local community organizations in the community. Like that has been really cool. And in terms of like kind of some of the things that have been happening now with, like specific deals that are kind of, that sounds like to come to a school or to transfer to a school, that I never really got caught up in. I always joke with Pat and told him that I was gonna go on the portal last year to see what deals I got, just to drive him crazy. And but no, that was never something that was really on the table. And I certainly don't judge anybody for doing it, but like for me, I love my experience at NC State. I didn't want to go anywhere. I don't think there was any money that somebody could have offered me to get me to go anywhere. And it's just different situations for different people. But in terms of what I loved about NIL is certainly connecting with, local community members, local organizations, and the freedom to kind of promote myself and be creative with my brand.
After NC State here, is Hoagie, Raise the Roof, are they still brands, or have we retired those? How are those going to transition?
I don't really know. It's we all at Mitch's Tavern, we have the Hidlay Hoagie, which I get every time I go there. So if you're listening, you got to go to Mitch's and try out my hoagie. When the NIL stuff came out, Van, like I said, the owner had me come in and kind of design my own hoagie there. So that's pretty cool. I get to bring my family and friends there, and you're on the menu at a pretty historic place in NC State, which is really cool. But I don't know. It's like, how old do I get before the hoagie thing kind of it runs its course? If people like it, like if people think it's cool, then whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised if people are like, "Dude, grow up."
Okay.
I don't know. I think the Raise the Roof is here to stay. I know at the end of the season we had our casino night, and I challenged a lot. I tried to see who had the best Raise the Roof on the team to see who could carry that through. I know Ryan Jack has given it a try, and he's someone that needs to figure out how to celebrate. So I don't know. Jackson Arrington's kind of my mentee on the team, so maybe he'll give it a try. I hope someone in NC State keeps it going. I think the fans loved it.
Absolutely. I mean, Reynolds just rocked a few times, especially your last one out there. Everybody enjoyed that. But
what was really funny about the Raise the Roof thing is, like, my redshirt year when I didn't get to compete and I was like really antsy at all the dual meets, I would sit with my older brother Heath, and we were just kind of like talking. I was like, nobody really raises the roof anymore. Like, that's kind of a thing in the past. I don't know if that was like an early 2000s like fad or something. But I was like, dude, if I win here next year, I'm definitely raising the roof. And sure enough, the first dual meet, we wrestled Old Dominion, and I won. I think I might have got a major decision. I raised the roof. I think I was like the only one that did it. And then every dual meet after, like a couple more people did it. So it's like it was cool to kind of see it grow from the grassroots.
Grassroots, I like that. But you said you signed with the Wolfpack RTC, Wolfpack Wrestling Club. So obviously staying in Raleigh. But for those that don't know, kind of what does it mean to be an RTC athlete, or what is this phase of life for you right now?
Yeah, so the Wolfpack RTC, Wolfpack Regional Training Center, is a senior level freestyle organization where I can stay in Raleigh and train and compete full time on the senior level to achieve my freestyle goals. And it's a dream come true, really. When you think about professional sports, this really is professional wrestling at its core. I get I'm on salary with the Wolfpack RTC. I train there every day. I get to work with the guys on the team. So not only is it, a big benefit for me to be able to come in and train and continue my career, but it's also a huge benefit for guys on the team because they get to, I get to be around the program. I get to work with them technically, mentally, help them achieve their goals in college, just like the RTC guys did when I was a freshman. Gwiz, Mock, Tommy Gant, Timmy McCall, Quentin Godley, Lee Davis, all those guys were in the room and were beating me up every day. And that was, that's really what helped me achieve the things that I wanted to. So that's the big thing with the Wolfpack RTC is, keeping me here to not only achieve my goals, but to also just help NC State wrestling as a whole. So Wolfpack RTC and NC State wrestling are very, very, very connected. Obviously, they're separate organizations, kind of separate practices too. I'll kind of come in with Jameel Kelly, is the RTC coach. So I work with him very closely, and he'll run practices that guys on the team can come in during the summer. And then during the season, it'll probably be a little bit different where, they'll be on a very strict schedule. And I'll have my RTC practices, but it's very connected, right? I'll get to work with the guys a lot. Guys like Dylan Fishback and Chase Horn, Christian Knopp, some of those 184, 197, 174 guys I'll be able to work with very closely, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, it'll be full-time training, competing. Probably I'll definitely hit the World Team Trials here. I think it's like 2.5 weeks in Omaha on September 14th. And then after that, the big thing is really the World Team Trials each year, but with the RTC, with the money that's raised in the RTC, I'm able to do training trips, I think, with Jameel, whether that's to somewhere internationally or hit an international tournament to just get more experience with freestyle to close in on, being the world team guy and the Olympic guy in 2028.
And unfortunately, September, the Olympic weights are not being competed. So your weight, 86, not take place. So you had to go up, you had to go down. You going 79? Is that what I heard? You can't cut to 174 pounds.
The last time I weighed 174, I about died making it for the Southern Scuffle, my red shirt year, and I told the coaches I couldn't do it after that. So no, I haven't been 174 since. Let's see. That would have been January 2019.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm seeing that weight anytime soon. Okay. So I'll be 92 kilograms. It's like 203, a little bit less than 203, which is a fine weight for me. I prefer 86, but I can rock at 92.
I was going to say, what about moving forward? Obviously, the Olympics is 86, but 92 is an off season. Is the goal to stick at 86 when you're able to compete there?
I think 86, and it's a little easier with the freestyle schedule because I don't need to make weight, 25 times a year. It's more like 4 or 5. So I can kind of pick my spots. If I want to hit 4 tournaments, including the trials, I can adjust my body accordingly. I can stay a little bigger and then get down for the tournament and then, train the way I need to. So that's kind of the biggest benefit I see of staying at 86 is not having to make it, a ton of times. And, a lot of the international tournaments too, for the ranking series are plus 2 kilos. So instead of 86, it's actually 88, which is like 194. And that's just for the ranking series tournaments. And then for anything, like the trials or anything, it's scratch weight. So I think 86 is a good weight for me, but I'm also, big enough that I can wrestle 92 and not feel too small. So it's a good opportunity for me.
We'll be looking forward to that. Seeing you back in action, always fun, especially freestyle. And we teased it at the beginning. We're getting to your big announcement. It's really not a big announcement. Selfishly, it's an announcement that helps me here. But you're going to be joining the podcast this year with us. Yep. We haven't really worked out too much, but as soon as you said you wanted to be involved, I said, absolutely. You can corral Pat. You can get to talk to some guys. Just a different perspective since you're that older veteran guy, went through the grind. You're going to be on this podcast. You're going to be asking the tough questions. I think this is a great opportunity too, because you're really good at interviews. You really like to talk. So I think this is a great platform for you moving forward.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I know when Hayden kind of took over, he did some podcasting when after his college career ended, and I know he enjoyed it a lot. And I was just in Pat's office the other day. I was like, hey, I'd love to be involved maybe with the podcast. And I'm kind of in a unique position where I'm still really, really close with a lot of the guys on the team.
Yep.
And I'm also really close with the coaches too. So I kind of get that kind of a dual threat in the way where I can, relate to those guys and also relate to the coaches. So I think it's just a cool opportunity for me to bring NC State wrestling and get it to the fans, get it to the alumni, and maybe different ways than we've been able to before, and really just have a good time with this. I love to pick the brains of guys and get them to get their name out there and show a little bit of a side of them that fans might not know. In a sport like wrestling, it's hard because traditionally we're very stoic, I think, as a sport, and you don't get a lot of opportunity to share your story or share your background. So I really want to be able to do that with some guys on the team and the coaches, and maybe bring in some other fun types of themes. So I'm super excited about it. I know people love this podcast, and I'll be excited to keep it refreshing.
Can you believe this podcast predates the Hidlays at NC State? That is unbelievable. So, but no, I mean, honestly, that was one of the goals when we first started this thing. Like you said, wrestlers don't get a chance to get their personalities out there, especially off the mat. So that has always been my goal, was to talk to different guys through the years, get them off. But you're going to be offering a great new perspective. Look forward to working with you. You're in charge of Pat. You have to schedule him. You have to just talk to him, get him to commit to a date. So that's your main mission.
Yeah, I got to get Pat's usually either busy, doing head coaching activities, or on the stepper, or plotting how to win national titles. But if I can get him for a couple of minutes to lighten up and connect with these guys, that would be great.
It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. Trent, always great catching up with you. I mean, we all loved watching your career. Now we get to watch this next phase of your career, and I think it's just going to be exciting. And you're obviously keep us up to date, but thanks for coming on the podcast today and catch us up and starting a new season here.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I think right now I have a decent amount of free time, and I'm local here in Raleigh. One of my goals is to continue to connect with alumni and fans as much as possible. So, if you're listening to this and you want to reach out or grab lunch or something, like, send me a message. I love hearing from you guys, and I love, sharing some stories or whatever. So, send me a message or something you want to maybe hear about on the podcast, and I'll work on getting that done.
Who's paying for this lunch? I know Pat won't.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about what I don't know if Hayden was trying to find a way to get the sponsorship stuff.
Yes, he was.
I'll have to use my degree a little bit and get the business side.
We had a lot of interest. We never pulled the trigger on a sponsorship for free food, but now, well, because I always felt that too. You can't really have a wrestler eating free food. So
yeah, right.
But Trent, great catching up. Wolfpack fans, look forward. Tons of great content coming on the podcast. Trent Hidlay is going to be on a lot. So we're really looking forward to this next season. Pat's going to put out the schedule very soon, hopefully. And Wolfpack fans, we're going to talk to you next time. Trent, thanks again. Good luck here in September, too, if we don't catch you before.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.